In previous exercise we had a profile page where you first had to log in, but we didn't yet include the register. So if you look at the code, now we have this submit login, we have this submit profile, and otherwise we have the default case, the else case where you show the login page. You want to actually change this so that you can have any page possible. To do that, we started to think conceptual about your program. The thing is, you want to first create the abstractions and then fill in the functions. I'm going to show you, so if you click over here on abstract client server, you get to small information. You know that the client server, the ID is retired, you have the front, the core and the back. But now think about creating that from a pure conceptual point. So your first function would be to load the page, which would print the page and load the body. So this function is doing nothing because load page didn't exist, but print page and load page doesn't exist either. Load body doesn't exist either. So this is pure code to kind of create your basic understanding, your basic conceptualization, or when it becomes more advanced to talk about architectures, software architectures, right? In this case, it's still very basic, but it's to make you understand the principle. So the print page will do all the echoes, right? You can create print frame, you could have a header over here. This is the place where I expect you all to do layout kind of stuff, like if you would later on go to Drupal, you have theming and you have all development for theming. That's a little bit the thing that is very primitively displayed over here. So you separate the layout from the code. The code is what will be in this body, which in this case will just be a string, and it's the output of the load body function. You see that the load body function doesn't have arguments either, but it has an output. You expect it to give one output being the body. So how does a load body page looks? It uses a switch. Instead of here you have this if else. We're going to use switch because you can actually have many cases over here. But to do that, you kind of need this label. So it's going to be called load page, which is going to be part of the post. And you can actually use to coordinate your system, tell where you want to go to. So the first case, it's going to login, then it's going to register, and by default, it will go to your front page. Again, we're creating all kind of functions. We are using all kind of functions, but we didn't define a function yet. So there is no profile page and there's no run login, but that's how we expect it to be, right? So we need to create these functions. We've created one function already. We didn't create the profile page and the run login. We didn't create the register page. Those functions still need to be created, but we did create the front page. How does a front page look? It has a welcome message. There will be a login field, so that's going to be login, password, and submit button, and there's going to be just a button for the registration. That's basically it, what we have over here. To do so, we kind of also have created a new level of abstraction on the input form. That's if you go over here, input form for register and login. Already created. Okay, so the thing I'm first explaining is why we want to use an array, why we want to use an object instead of an array, because of this ugly kind of cutting strings, and you can use arrays inside a string, which is very useful. This is basically how our logging will look. At this moment, you see that there's no one element related to HTML. So if you look at how the input always looks, it looks like there's a label and then there's this input form. Well, we just made sure that you don't give all that information. You just give an array, but we like to have an object, so we transform it to an object, and then we push it into our inputs. So our inputs is an array of objects, right, containing all the data. These input forms are then given to this function called input form, which takes these inputs, which has a subtext, which will be the label of your bottom, and the name of your bottom, and then it has a label that relates to this load body. That's our design. Our design is to make sure that this will always be in there. How do we do that? Well, we create a form, we put all the input elements in there by going over the array and transforming them to HTML inputs, and then we're gonna add this hidden input called label. This is part of our architecture. So at this moment, we didn't yet really create any code. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get back to my code. I'm gonna remove everything over here because I'm not gonna need this anymore. And I'm gonna use some other code that is given in the solution. So the first thing I'll do is I copy all this, right? This we already have in login. And everything from this page. So it starts with load page. It goes to print page. We're gonna do the load body in right away, but I'm gonna first put the pages, so load page, print page, and front page together, and I'm gonna put the load body separately. So what I'll do is I'm gonna add some gonna add some markup so it's easier to see where we are. Let's say, you know what, I'm gonna open another file. You have the profile dirty, which you have in the solution. They look almost the same as the screencast with it, but the difference is, first of all, that it also has a version. Like you have profile 1, the 1 refers to the version. In profile 1 there wasn't any SQL. In profile 2, oh, where is it? No, that's profile 3. In profile 2 there will be actually login MySQL 1, so that's just version numbers to show you how the code would have looked at earlier stages. Okay, there are two more things we did here. So this is the last stage. Profile 3 is the last stage, but we also included the dirty version. So this is how it would look if you wouldn't create any function. So then you see that this code is becoming quite unreadable, and there's a lot of duplications, like this whole piece is just the same as this whole piece. In our last exercise we had a better solution. It looks already something like this, but now we are going to improve it even further. So what's useful is to have these comments separating your code. So this is going to be our front. Oops. Just making it a bit easier to view. There you go. It's gonna be my front. All this is front, and then we have over here core, and last, which is not yet given, is the back. Okay, so let's think for a minute. I've just copied all the information and made a little bit separations. I think that the only thing I really need to do is run the road page. Now, as I've got this few information over here, I'm just going to put it over there. Load page, and now I'm going to see what happens if I go to my test. First of all, it says undefined index load page. That's because, remember over here, if you put an is set around it, that message will disappear. So that's basically what we have. We have this welcome message, which is part of our front page. There is this login input. So this is the first part, which takes the login input and then creates a push to login button and labels it as login. And then there's the push to register, which doesn't take any input. There's no input, right? There's no input between those two buttons. Has the name push to register and then goes to the register page. So that's basically our design. We already have actually some of the functions outlined, like defined, like the front page is already fully defined. What we're gonna do now is you're gonna think about like, okay, so if you go to the front page, you go to this, you have all this information. What we already need next to it is a login and a to register, which we already give over here as cases, case login and case to register. So now let's think about what needs to happen with the 1, 2, 3 functions over here that we didn't define yet. So there's going to be a profile page that has some input, and there's going to be a register page that doesn't have any input. What happens in the register page? What happens in the profile page? We need, in other words, to add two new pages. That's page 1, page 2, page 3. You had the front page, you had the register page, and you had the profile page, which takes in a user. That's the only one taking in a user, right? The register page should say something like register, right? It takes an input form. Everything takes an input form, but now it doesn't take the login input, but a register input, and it says push to register. And if you push it, well, where do you go to? Well, you go to register, right? The front page needed 2 input forms, like this is one and this is a second. All the other pages do not. They all just need 1 input form. So I'm gonna remove this, and I can remove this also here. In this case, we have not a login input, but a profile input, and it will take this user as input. And then you can say push to save, right? Because you save your profile. Where do you want to go to when you saved your profile? I'm going to stay on the profile page. Profile. Okay. Now notice that I have added a register and I added a profile here. This function is not existing yet. This function is not existing yet. So I have 1, 2 functions I need to create, and there's 1, 2 labels I need to create. Now I'm first going to do the labels, because if you forget them, that's going to be more problematic. So next to the case login, we also have the case register and the case profile. Okay, they both will need to go somewhere, so I'm just going to copy this part. Well, this actually is useful because they both want to go to the profile page. Once you've registered, you want to go to the profile page. If you are at the profile page, you want to stay at the profile page. But the thing that changes, you don't want to run a login. If you go to the register, you want to run register. Oops. And if you are at the profile page, you want to run profile. That's basically it. So you see that there's a logic in this, you see? Okay, so actually it seems like we are just shifting the problem, right? Because, okay, we still only need to create this 1 page, profile page, which we already defined over here, so that's okay. But now we have a run login, run register, and run profile. 3 functions that all 3 have to be created. They don't take in any arguments, but they do give output. What's the output? The output is gonna be a user. I'll just adding the syntax, and don't forget all of them need to be functions. Defining the functions, and each of them needs to return the user. Now I don't really, I mean, this is just dummy code, you see? Still nothing, this is doing nothing, just dummy code. But I know that I will need to create the run login here, I need to create the run registry here, I need to create the run profile there, and because I know that all of them are runs, it's you see that there's a logic in this. Okay, so let's see. The run things, the first thing, we also had this register page here. Let's go back to the pages. We have created the labels, right? But we didn't have yet the register input and the profile input. Now, those two I think are more easy, so I'll take them first. They will be more or less the same like the login input, right? But the one is the register and the other is the profile. The register is almost similar. There's just one difference. It has a second password, and now I see that there's just one S there. So let's change that. Just takes password 2 also, right? And you just need to say that it has to pre-type password. There you go. That's basically it. The profile is different. The profile has this user, remember from the other exercises. Right? Sorry. Has this user. I'm also going to keep the login now. I'm even going to allow users to change your login. Next to login, there was first name, second name, email, and phone. Well, we need to, the login stays here, same. This is F name, this is S name, this is email, this is phone. And all of them, oh, you see this value? Normally it's a string, but now we are in an array, so we just do user login, user F name, user S name, so on. Come on. There you go. Is this everything? No. Of course, I also need one hidden. I'll put them on top. So there's going to be no label. The type is going to be hidden. The name is going to be user ID. The value is going to be user ID. That's it, right? That's what we had from previous exercises. Login, register, profile. So we do have all the profile. We do have now everything for showing the pages, right? Login, push, register, push, all of this should work. The only thing is that the run functions are not defined, right? So if I now just give it like this, well, you know, we already created the login and stuff, so we can actually do that, right? How did the login work? You had to, think I will find it over here. Yeah, well, yeah, right. This was a profile tree. You had a function called login. In this case, the function login is a little bit more tested. So it tests for the login and the password. It checks for errors, and then it will see if the number of rows is different from 1, and otherwise it will fetch it as an array. Now I want almost the same, but I want to fetch it as an object. So I'll put this in the back. I'll just call it login mysql. I'm going to keep everything like here, but I'm going to change this array to object. That's basically it. The only thing is, well, you see I'm creating this error here. Now where would these errors come? An error is actually also something I would expect from the input. So after pages, I will create something called function error message. Error. And I'm probably have some code over here, don't I? Yeah, well, the return. The thing is, all of these are users, right? So what I will do is, the user never has a value called error. So I don't need to wait just a second. Let me first finish this part. This needs to be a message. Let's say hash2 header2. We have a problem. Header2 font color is equal to red, and then our error heap font. That's it. Let's do a break. Okay, that's our error message. So the thing is, where do we get the error messages? The only place where we see that things come back is in the profile page, right? Which is in this case a user. Now, what I could do is instead of like what I can do is take that there's an object. Well, let's not do a return, but let's say we call it an error. I'll just call it object for error, and then say that there's a value called error, which is going to be equal to this, and then I'm going to just return the object. So the thing is, I've given back an object, and this is the only place where that object comes. So the only thing I need to do here is, oh, by the way, this should be your profile. But if it's an error, I will first check here if there is an error. So if user is set error, I will not show the body, but I will return the error. You see, so I'll create this error message. I know that everything always is an object. So when this comes back, or it's a user and it has valuable information, or it has this user, this error message, and then I'll return the error message. Basically it. Okay, so if I go back to my code over here, I see that there is this error message. So now I do object error like this, and I return the object. You see that this part will not return a user, but we will turn an error, while this part will return your user. So this is my login MySQL, and I think that's almost everything I have to do in my login MySQL. The thing is, the only thing I probably need to do in front of it is test for errors, right? Stuff we can do. So let's say if if the post login is empty or the post password. Oh, be careful. Is it password? Let's go to the input. It's called password1. Is it always called password1? Yes. Password1, password1. Yes, okay. Need to be careful. The label should be password1. If the password is 1, I'll return object error saying input cannot be empty. That's basically it. And otherwise, I can use this login mysql with the password. So those two elements. Well, I could create a function, a variable over here with post login, but I mean, that's not so much different, right? So that should basically be my login function. Let's go and hope it works. See and test. Yes, and it gives back my profile. Great. So this is working. Run logging works and it shows me my profile. So now I'm in the profile page and I should be able to push the save button, which we already did before. So push save is also over here displayed. So this was the login MySQL, this was the profile MySQL, right? You had to update everything according to the user ID. So again, I'm going to copy this. I'm gonna put them over here with the backends. I'm gonna say that this is profile MySQL. You see all this stuff? Well, that's not. Is it needed? Well, let's keep it this way. I seem to not be using user from post. Oh, there's user from post. Huh. Okay. I'm gonna take this one again. I like the user from post. I'll put it after all the other input file things. So this is user from post. It's user login, first names, email, all of them. Okay. So I expect this actually to happen over here. So you have the run profile. You say that there is a user from post. Basically it. And now you're gonna need to, oh sorry, there's a sign. Now you need to run the MySQL, profile MySQL, just with user. I don't need them all separately. MySQL profile user, there you go. So it takes in user, so I'll just need to add it everywhere here. Basically it, and of course the error again. I think that should be it. So what does it do? It tries to run the profile, and if it runs it, it gives back the user. No, if it runs, it gives back the object. And if not, I actually need to get back the user. So I'll just return the user. Return user. There you go. So this will just create the post and then do the MySQL query and then just return it. I can actually put this in one line. I don't need more than one line here. think I probably did some other tests in, well, I'm gonna check that later on, right? Well, so you could have put it like on this, like one line, but I'm gonna keep it separate to, because I think I'll need to do some testing, error testing anyway. Okay, that's basically it. So if I change something now, like let's say first name is Mixel2, push to save, I'm getting all these messages. I'll check the database. No, it didn't save. Why didn't it save? Back to the code. So I run profile, I do user from post. Okay, that's okay. Ah, you see here the dollar sign? That's not good. Okay, let's try again. Blah. Nope. Something going wrong. Line 82. So it says something about line 82, but that's in our profile input. So the thing is that it doesn't get the user as I would have expected. So, let's print the user here. So you can use a function print r user. Let's see. Aha. Isn't it? Okay, I'm not sure if I even get here. Should be. Okay, I'll try it again. Haha. Why am I not getting here? Push to save, yes. Okay, more debugging. Okay, I'm making a mistake and I can't see it right away, so I'm just creating all this ugly code to see what's happening. Oh. Yeah, okay, I can't have that in the switch, of course. Should put it outside. Blah test push to login, it goes to login. Now I'm at login, everything is okay. Now I push save and it goes to yo-yo2 profile. So profile should be also good. And then it doesn't print the yo-yo. So you see that my mistake is that he gets the profile over here, goes to the profile over there, and then he does the run profile, which should be here. So why isn't it getting there? Isn't that strange? Maybe you've already seen it, but I'm tired and I'm not seeing it. Getting desperate. Should get somewhere. Yo2 profile. I'm pretty sure he gets over here with profile, so he should be getting over here. I can do a test over here. I'm really not seeing it. This is terrible. It's not getting there. Why isn't it getting there? Don't tell me there's a white space in there, which would make me spend all this time. No, there's no white space. Okay. Oh, damn it. I'm so stupid. I've changed this isset, right? I shouldn't change that isset. This isset is always gonna be true. That's stupid. And then it just runs the first one, I guess. I don't know. That's stupid. Okay. You see, now it gets there. Okay, that was a very stupid mistake. So it's gonna keep on saying the warning. So you should ignore the warning. Okay, I understand that you don't understand what happened, but in the other cases, if you have a if, you could actually put the is set, and then it would actually go to the next thing. But now I really need this label, right? So the switch would really need to work on the label. So the problem is now that if you go to the first page, it will have this undefined index, but just ignore it. Oh. Let's see. Okay, I'm still getting those warnings, but I don't care about that. I just need to refresh them. So let's see if blah has now me to, you see? So it does register. That's good. The only thing left to do is back to the code. Don't forget to save. And the only thing to do now is, so the run login works, the run profile works, only the run register is not done yet. So again, we're gonna do something more or less the same. User from post. We're gonna need to do something like run profile mysql, but now it's gonna be register mysql, right? Register mysql, and what does it take as input? Actually, you only have two things. That's the login and the password one, just like with the login mysql. So I don't need more than this, right? I do need to do some tests because, I mean, you may have noticed in just a second ago, if I do this, blah, and I push to login, it goes on. That's because I didn't do any testing. I can actually create, but I knew it needed for the register and for the profile. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a test for both of them, because if you register you also want to make sure that the login is not taking and so on. So let's open the file containing the profile. Oh no, not the profile, sorry, really getting tired. Register, the register, and you had all these tests, right? You had to select and see if the database was um, um, well, let me first of all get the register. So let me first go to the SQL and get the register. That's this part. Register, so it's register SQL. It takes in the login and the password. This part, MySQL, if not the error stuff, that's part of the test that I also need to do for the profile. So I'm gonna copy paste it here and create a new function called how do you call it? Login test. Just gonna put it over here for now. I'm gonna look at it right away, but I'll first want to finish this part. Okay, so I want to insert into users and so on. There's a MySQL. If I'm running the MySQL, what do I need to get back? I actually, first of all, want to check if it's not working, because if it's not working, I've got an error, and then I need this part, right? So I'll just do like this, object error, error, object error, return the object. That's this, the first part, testing the errors. Okay, so now I know that there's no error. So what I need to do is I have inserted the SQL, and I have, but what I need to get is the user. Right now I know there's only a login and a password. You know what? I'm actually gonna call it user, and I'm gonna again do it like this: user login and user password. And the only thing I'm missing now, because after creating the SQL, I need the user ID. That's the only thing that actually is also new with the database. So, and I think the function is called mysql set ID, but I'm gonna check it right away because I'm not using it so often. I think it's called last set ID or something. Okay, wait, back. MySQL last inserted ID. There you go. Thank you very much. Just like this. There you go. I think that's a function, right? Yep. Let's see, just to make sure. Called MySQL inserted ID. So what it does is you connect to the database, blah, blah, blah. You insert something and then you say my inserted ID. So you just want to get the last inserted ID. There you go. And that will actually give back what we need. The only thing now is return user. So you had the login and the password, you add the user ID and you give it back. That's basically it. And then you push it away over here. So the only thing I need to do now is create parts of the user, login is equal to this part, and user pass. Did I call it password or password? User password. That's gonna be, yeah, but I've called it password over there, that's not a problem. But here it's gonna be user login, user password. Be careful. And for consistency, I will change the other part as well. Now, if I do it over here, oh, that's in the profile. I need it over here. And I'm gonna do it over here as well. And then just test for login over here. Just gonna remove a lot of stuff. Password over there. And I'm gonna give user here so that it's consistent with this part. User over there. So it looks the same, right? Try to stay consistent. So it's gonna be user login, user password, not password, that was password. And that's basically it. Okay. The only thing I didn't do yet is the login test, right? So what do I need to test? I need to test user the thing is yeah, now I remember. I think I don't allow to change the password here, right? So the profile doesn't allow to change the password, but you could actually allow to change the password, and then you can actually have this login test. But just have a look at the solution. I don't think it's gonna be really relevant, so I'm gonna just remove it here, and you can have a look at the solutions file. It's just one extra thing to do some tests. But I think this is basically it. Yeah, we should test it, right? Testing. Okay. 140. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Let's say push to register, and let's register Plato. First name, second name, email, and phone. Okay, so it's noticed, so it's not really a mistake, and that's because we only had the user ID. So, but I'm going to get to the database, browse it. There's no Plato. It has user ID 9. So if I go back over here to the code and I view the developer tool, that was it, I guess. And I go over here, you see that. So now there is a body and stuff, but there's also a user ID in the form. And there's this what is hidden. And the other hidden is user ID 9. So if I change this to whatever, oh, I think this not needs to be a number, and I push to save, up, your profile has been updated, and you see over here, if I browse it, that it also has been updated. So this is basically it. The only difference between this solution and the solution you can download from the site is that I also did some extra tests, and that's why the run register and run profile, I think it has just one extra thing. But that's basically it.